Hey there, welcome back to Forerunners. I'm Kevin Wallis, Surfline's Director of Forecasting, joined by Surfline's VP of Forecasting, Korte. Kurt, let's jump in. Lots of spots firing this past week, and these are some of our favorites. We're going to start with number 5. It is number 1 in my heart, though. It's Newport Beach, kind of my hood. We had a great couple of days in Newport, courtesy of Tropical Storm Emilio and Fabio. First tropical swells of the season. This is from our 56th Street cam. Guys and gals taking off way behind the jetty. That's at least partially due to that extreme south-southeast angle that we see a lot of times with those hurricane swells. You know, heard a few whispers of the best 56th Street has been since Hurricane Simon, which was roughly 10 years ago. Also heard a couple whispers that our crack producer Mark Beatty here nabbed a couple of sets out the back as well. So on to number 4 with you, Kurt.
Gosh, tough to beat those. That was some sick clips there. But Soup Bowl, Barbados, really, this is actually supposedly one of Kelly Slater's favorite waves when it's good. So this is courtesy of the tropical wave that ended up becoming Tropical Cyclone Ernesto, and it actually helped disrupt our trade winds. So you have pretty clean surf here. That's somewhat atypical. Normally you have trade winds blowing, but really good waves, just rippable, nice bowl sections through there. You can get barrels and all that kind of stuff. It's a great wave, great wave. And as we transition to number 3, we head up to the East Coast, Rhode Island, Point Judith. Really cool setups in Rhode Island. It's kind of underrated. It's well exposed to the south swells that we get ahead of fronts. And this is actually from the winds partially associated with Tropical Cyclone Debbie. So this is like around 8 feet at 9 seconds out of the south or south-southeast. And you can see that it kind of gets it rumbling a little bit. Nice, lots of waves coming through there for Point Judith. As we switch over to spot number 2 now.
Yeah, and this is decidedly not 8 feet at 9 seconds, probably 8 feet at about 17 seconds or 19 seconds. This is Padang Padang in Bali. Indo took a little bit of a breather in July, but really came back to life end of July and over the last couple of weeks. This particular swell had a lot of west in it, which is great for Padang Padang. Lots of size gets in there. And Kurt, number 1 for you, my man.
G-Land, again, same swell. Just I think we mentioned this on the last episode of Forerunners when I was sitting next to you in beautiful Tahiti. Quite the different scenario here as back home, but we actually highlighted the Indian Ocean as being a hot spot, and man, it is absolutely pumping there the past couple weeks. And G-Land, that new cam that we have there is absolutely stunning. Check that thing out.
Certainly one of my new favorites, even though we've only had it for a week or two, something like that. But going to be one I'm going to be checking out a whole bunch. Well, heading back to our number 5 spot, that was Newport Beach. We've got a great Ask a Forecaster question from Bailey Turner, who is the next generation of hard-charging Turner family. She's Ryan Turner's daughter. Bailey recently won the girls' under-16 division of the Rip Curl Grom Search at Wallis, and she was all over this last tropical swell and had this question for us.
Hey, Surfline, that last one was so fun. How come it came up so quickly and was so powerful and consistent?
All right. Well, great question, Bailey. Thank you for that. And that particular swell was all tied to the source of the swell, the consistency and the size, and the way it rapidly came up was a mixture of Tropical Storm Amelia and Fabio. Neither storm was super strong, topping out at tropical storm versus hurricane strength, but they did have a couple other things going for them, which are even more important than storm strength, especially with tropical swells. The first was size. The combo of the two storms set up a medium to large wind field, especially by tropical cyclone standards. The second was a track. There was a period of 12 to 24 hours where the storms took a great northerly track towards Southern California, almost straight at us. And then the third was the distance away. When the fetch was strongest, biggest, and best aimed at Southern California, was less than 1,000 miles from us, around 750 miles. So all of those factors allowed for quickly rising, ultimately consistent swell. Had the storm been a little smaller and moving in a more westerly direction, wouldn't have been nearly as large or consistent. So it's all about size and track for those tropical cyclones. Fabio reminded me a little bit of Tropical Storm Lowell in 2014, which is a good swell, but ultimately not that great. Ultimately was overshadowed, by the more significant Marie swell a few days later. But this was, our first, our biggest, and probably our best tropical swell of the season in Southern California. We obviously have a long way to go, kind of peak season. We're just getting into it now, September and October. But given the overall setup, my guess is if you miss this one, we're probably not going to see anything better. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like the tropical systems like this, you think about it, I mean, it's a tropical storm. Think about how many strong hurricanes we have that come out of the Eastern Pacific, and they don't send anything close to this. So it really just shows you how important track is, the size of the wind field, as you mentioned, and the storm movement. It just, when all those variables come together, it can really just overshadow strength. And that's, the proof's there. I mean, it was absolutely pumping.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The size, or excuse me, the intensity factor is kind of the sexy one. You hear category, 3, 4, 5, a major hurricane. But it really is, size really matters when it comes to the tropical storms, because in relationship to what we see during, like a midwinter cyclone, mid-latitude cyclone in the winter months, these tropical cyclones are just a fraction of the size. So the bigger they are by tropical storm standards, the better, the bigger the potential surf will be.
Was there any northwest wind swell mixing in during this, or was
no?
it just
this was pretty much straight southeast swell. So you had good, like, one of the reasons like spots like 56 were so good, Newport Point, which we're seeing a lot of here. Those spots, 56 especially, can still get good when we got northwest wind swell. It tends to get peakier, and you get peaks up and down the beach versus just that straight left coming off the jetty. But yeah, this was pretty much all southerly swell here. So, hey, thanks for the question, Bailey. Also, while we're on the topic of firing left-handers, we did catch up with one of the 2024 Corona Fiji Pro wildcards at Sierra Kerr, as she and her dad were prepping to leave for Fiji. So, Mark, let's play that clip right now, please. Welcome to Forerunners. Congrats on the wildcard into the upcoming Fiji Pro, which runs August 20th to 29th. We're really looking forward to seeing you compete.
Yeah, I'm excited. It should be really fun. Hopefully there's some good waves. I haven't checked too much, but yeah, it was fun when we just went, so I'm excited.
Cool. So, I think you've been going to Fiji since you were really young. I think I may have actually been there on one of your first trips. I'm pretty sure we all went out to Desperations together 8 or so years ago. What are your first memories of Cloudbreak, of Fiji, of Tavarua in general?
I think I've gone there like a couple times growing up when Dad was on tour, so that's cool as. And I remember skating like the little mini ramp there a lot, and playing basketball with all the CT guys. And then my one memory of Cloudbreak is I was caddying my dad. I don't know when it was, but apparently it wasn't that big. But when I was like 8 or so, maybe. It felt really big, and a little west one come, and I had to get like boost over the falls, and my hat like flew off, and I thought I was gonna like die. So that's my one memory of Cloudbreak, but it's pretty funny. Apparently it was pretty small, but it felt pretty big at that time.
That's amazing. And so have you been a couple times over the last couple months as well, and warming up for the event, so to speak?
We only have gone once for like 3 days, maybe like a week ago, because we didn't know for too long that I was getting the wild card, and I was kind of traveling, so it was good to get a little strike trip in there.
Very cool. And your dad obviously was a longtime competitor and did well in Fiji over the years. What kind of advice has he given you about the waves over the years, and over especially recently, knowing that you're the wild card in the event?
I mean, he loves that wave. So when we were there, he was kind of just showing me like a bit of lineups and kind of what the waves are doing. So it's cool to have my dad in my corner to help me with that. So I'm not just figuring it out on the fly. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. So is he going to return the favor? He's going to be your board caddy on this trip, you think?
Yeah, he'll be my caddy. So it's pretty cool. Like I was caddying for him at the last time, and then he's caddying for me now.
That's killer. And what have you been doing, if anything, to get ready to go?
Just, I don't know, normal surfing, normal training. Yeah, just doing the normal and getting excited for it, watching some of the old heats. And yeah, I don't know, nothing too much different, but yeah, I'm just excited to get there and start learning more. So we'll go there soon.
In my opinion, there's been some really amazing performances, and probably everyone's opinion, has been some amazing performances in women's surfing this year, particularly in heavier barreling waves. Who are the women that you look up to as inspiration in these heavier situations, and how excited are you to be a part of that?
Yeah, I'm super excited to be a part of it. It's really cool. I mean, I've grown up with like Molly, Betty Lou, Katie, traveling with them all the time and surfing big waves with them, and then watching them do it on tour is really sick. So that inspires me, and they're my good buddies, so it's sick to watch.
Yeah, it's been. I think I've found women's surfing as exciting or more so than I've ever seen it this year. Like some of the heats that we've seen between all those, really young women has been so cool, and it's so exciting to see where it's going to go here over the next couple of years. So I think there's a bunch of us, and me included, really looking forward to this event. To wrap everything up, what are you most excited about with this upcoming Fiji Pro event?
I'm kind of just excited to surf like against my good friends, and I have my first heat with Katie, so that's gonna be sick. I've had like one heat with her, so I'm excited for it. And yeah, hopefully the waves are good, and we're just putting on a good heat and getting people excited.
Cool. Well, Sierra, we appreciate you talking with us. Good luck in the event. We're cheering for you, and we're excited to see how everyone does and how you do.
Sick. Thank you.
How's this board caddy? This board caddy right here, Kurt. Can you imagine being, whatever, 8, 9 years old and getting plowed by a super west set down the end of the reef, like the shish kebab section?
I'm 41, and it strikes fear in all parts of my body to think about that. Yeah, it's amazing, and it's so cool. Like the role reversal there. Where now Josh's gonna caddy for her. It's super cool how that's worked out, and I really hope they get some good waves.
Yeah, and hey, I think we've both probably had at least a little peek at the forecast, but haven't looked at it as complete as the man that's going to join us here in just a second. That's John Warren, who is one of our senior forecast managers and a primary forecaster for the Fiji region. We're going to bring him on right now. John, welcome. You're leaving in about 24 hours to be on site for the Fiji Pro. I know you've been watching the forecast really closely over the last week or two. Doesn't necessarily look like a banger of a forecast, but we do have at least one decent swell lining up early in the event window, maybe another pulse towards the end of the window. What are the swells that you're tracking in the coming days? What are the likeliest run days, in your opinion, and how big does it look?
That's right, Kevin. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to go. This will be my first time going to Fiji. I've been forecasting for a while and can't wait to actually see it in person. As you were saying, nothing solid that's in the cards right now. But we do have waves, and it should be pretty fun. You can see here on screen this animation. We're watching a couple merging lows moving through the Tasman and Southern Ocean. It's a shame this thing didn't happen a little bit further to the west, because then we'd get even bigger swell. But still going to send some fun southwest shifting south-southwest swell. That circle there shows you that initial energy that's moving in on Wednesday, just modest in size. And then a stronger pulse moving in for Thursday, Friday. That's the 22nd and 23rd. Pushing sets up to head high to overhead, looking at some sets going 2 to 3 foot overhead. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some double overhead waves coming in on occasion out there at cloud break on Thursday when that swell tops out. Mornings, we're looking at clean conditions, offshore east-southeast trade winds there, more moderate in strength. And they're getting pretty strong in the afternoon and shifting to a more side offshore southeast, a south-southeast direction. Not a bad direction, but stronger than what we'd like to see for nice smooth surface conditions.
Cool, and it seems like the trend has been to bump that little pulse up towards the end of the event window, just up a little bit over the last day or two. What are you seeing there, timing-wise and size-wise for something maybe at the end of the window too?
That's right. Confidence is starting to slowly grow that we'll see something towards the last few days, the 27th, 28th, and 29th. That we'll see something definitely contestable. So we have to watch that, how that's going to come to fruition here over the next, over the next few days, if that's going to materialize. Because right now, Wednesday and Thursday, or let's just say Thursday and Friday, look more like a lock that they could hold some heats. That's again the 22nd, 23rd. Wednesday is kind of up in the air, and I think that'll be dependent on how the end of the event window will look at that point. If they would, if they have to hold some heats there on that Wednesday before it gets bigger on Thursday. So that's basically their Thursday and Friday look like a sure thing. Wednesday's a maybe, depending on how those last few days they shape up for us.
Okay, cool. Well, John, I know you got a flight to catch here pretty quickly. We'll let you get back to packing up and getting ready. Thanks for the update. We look forward to following along while you're down there. Hey, just as a reminder too, if you want to check the daily updated forecast, you can hit that QR code. John's going to be updating that forecast daily throughout the life of the event. So hopefully a couple of these swells will start to trend a little bit better. John, best of luck down there. It looks like it's going to be fun. I hope you get a couple, you're able to sneak a couple of waves as well. And with that,
no. Just
no. Yeah.
Just work.
I'm like, what did I forget, Kurt? I'm just blowing it here. Yeah. All right. Now with that, we're going to look at a couple other spots on the globe where we are expecting to see good surf in the coming days with our purple blob of the week. And we've got lots of areas of interest. We got tons of activity going on in the Indian Ocean. The South Atlantic's on a bit of a bender too. Even a little southwest pop coming out of the South Pacific, which is going to be set up fun surf for Hawaii late this weekend and early next week. But Kerr, Korte, this is the one you're fired up about. Tell me all about it. What's going on in the North Atlantic?
Oh yeah, this is what gets me excited. We have Hurricane Ernesto, which is tracking through the Western Atlantic here on Friday afternoon. And it is, as you can see on our wayfind animation, sitting swell to the East Coast, the Canadian Maritimes, and eventually as it tracks into the Northwest or the North Atlantic, it will send waves over to Western Europe as well. We've already seen seas in the 20 up to even 30-foot range with this from a couple of our observations out there. So yeah, lots of waves lining up, starting to fill in some today on Friday, but this weekend shaping up to be some good waves around. It looks like we'll see pockets of pretty good conditions for parts of Florida, parts of the Southeast, Virginia Beach, the Outer Banks, and then winds are a little bit dicier as you head up into the Northeast on Saturday and Sunday, but there's going to be some windows of some pretty good waves, and it should be pretty solid in some areas as well. So Ernesto is going to move pretty slow here over the next 24 to 36 hours as it approaches Bermuda. That's great for swell production. It's a big storm. That's also great for swell production. Not taking the best track, but I think we're going to compensate for that by the size and the movement of the system. So yeah, lots of widespread surf in the head high or so range, and even some bigger waves than that at some locations. So I am very excited about it. I am planning on surfing all weekend, and yeah, that makes me happy.
That a kid. I mean, I'd heard maybe even a few fun waves earlier today for you. Is that right?
Yeah, I did the surf reports today, and actually one of the places that was clean through the afternoon was Frisco. One of your favorite places.
My favorite spot on the East Coast. Oh,
it's one of it was
warms
tons
my
of
heart.
closeouts and it didn't look very good, but when I saw that it was head high or a little bit overhead and offshore, I thought of you.
Thanks, buddy. Well, that's lovely.
Yeah, I missed it next to you.
I know. I've really missed you over the last week. It was like 2 straight weeks together, and now here we are, a country apart. I miss you. Thanks everyone for tuning into episode 3 of Forerunners. If you do have an Ask a Forecaster question or anything else you'd like to see on the show, please leave us a note in the comments below. We really appreciate it. We are going to leave you with a few clips of the first bit of swell from Ernesto hitting Virginia Beach and the Outer Banks this afternoon. We'll drop a list of cams to watch in the show notes, as it looks like plenty of surf's going to be filling over the weekend, as Kurt just mentioned. Hope everyone finds a few waves this weekend, whether you're on the U.S. East Coast or anywhere else in the world, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.